All right, shalom, 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 Yasharala. Just to get right to it, y'all come down, much outside. Here's the link if anybody would like to join this specific segment. So we're going to try to get through this quick. Shabbat shalom to everybody. Today is the seventh day of the week as we know it by the calendar, what we go by. Some people have issues with the Gregorian calendar. I don't want to go into too much education. We got a very short time, and this is supposed to be a short. So I'm going to get to it. Today is the seventh day of the week. Today is Shabbat. So we say Shabbat shalom. All right. And we're going to start our screen share. And this is a website that I like to use for those who are curious, who would like to seek or search more. This website is called, what's it called? Shabbat Shalom to those watching. If you're watching, please share out. I'm going to try to make this as short and do it as brief as possible. Put a 7-year-old. Is that a good audio? Is that a good place to put a 7? So, of course, you got to keep it down. So, we'll try to get to this as quick as we can. All right, so this page is called First Fruits of Zion. Now, First Fruits of Zion is a website that I like to use, even though we do have actual books. Me and my family do have books in our library, books that were given to us by elders that have written out Torah portions. So if anyone is like, well, hey, Torah portion is like a Jewish thing or something that they picked up and they started doing it. No, it's not like that. The Torah portion is literally something that was taught to us by our teacher Moses. All right, so Moses taught us to study the Torah a certain way. All right, for those of you who don't know, yes, Moses is a black man, was a black man. The history of the African Americans, also in captivity throughout North, South, Central, all of the history, is the history of the so-called Hebrews. You know, I don't know anybody else I can tell. With that being said, there is a pattern of teaching and reading that we do. I want to give a special blessing to my mom. It's a cardiac. All right. Most High has allowed me to be able to another day of the year, harm. There's physical harm and emotional harm, but we're alive. And that speaks volumes to me. Us as a Mashakazi family, we always have the opportunity to, continue forward the way our paths for us. And so my friends has made the honorable number of 12 tribes out of fire is that. It's amazing. So I'm going to pull this up real quick. I'm going to put it in Deuteronomy review. My page, I don't have my glasses on for this. We'll try to get this, like I said, as quick as we can. As quick as we can. Try to get this as quick as we can, but it's also as honorable. So I'm going to switch the screen share over so you all will be able to see the screen share. And then also, if you are watching, please share out. All right. Switch the screen share. All right, so if you haven't seen this is called AI Bible Study. This is AI Bible Study. This is really good to play, and it's very beautiful. All right, so outside of that, it gives a great visual of children
making obedience possible and achievable.
So I could go into all types of thoughts, but I won't. So point of saying such, let's get directly into sound check. Great, appreciate it. Appreciate it. 7 sound check. How do I got the and I need to take a second because I have to send this out to the requester. All right. So again, the Torah portions are shots. All right. The Torah portions are broken down, and as you go through and read them, it starts to give you a overall memorization, these patterns of what the children of Israel went through, it's consistent, up and down, but it's also something else. It's also consistent instructions. So we can't always read them and understand that, but sometimes, we can have it read to us. If your Father permits, I would love to be able to read and explain what the Father said you to see from from Deuteronomy chapter 11 to Deuteronomy chapter 16 to the prophet portion, which is so powerful because that's the portion Isaiah chapter 45 to 55 to where we heard all of our lives, what one begins to show by. That's that portion. And it's so wonderful because it's been given to us and we get to see the details that we've heard what one begins to show by. And it's true in the will, and that even in instances of let's say small favorable blessings in our pockets of paradise, right? So even in that, Father giving us protection. Why I read a message from my mother. She was talking about I received it from she was my father, but those ones that was the actual statement, but so $100 for those things. And yeah. So we get refreshed in the New Testament. We get refreshed in the Torah. We get refreshed in the prophecies with years. All right. So that's what I'm going to do right now. And like I said, there was a sister who had an issue. All right. So I'm going to speak on the subject of veganism very briefly. All right. Put a 7 in the room if the sound is okay. All right. If you hear me well or if this needs to be put down, I'm trying to do it. All right. So this week's Torah portion. I'm going to share this page. You can find this online. All right. It's an easy page you can find online. Here's the website. I like to share this. I like that. Even though we use this website, all right, our understanding is it doesn't begin with this website. It's just a helpful one that we give others if you want to study a Torah portion for yourselves. If you can head around and just like, oh, hey, can't get in touch with us. Well, I just want to listen to it ahead of time. Boom, there it is right there. All right, so here's the website. Without going into too much explanation, because that's my teaching style. My teaching style is to overreach. So you know what you need. Right? And if I found something, it's like I want to see right here. All right, so without too much, here's the link. All right, and all you can have that. All right, that's just for that. Now, if you have a book, certain books that for a portion, right? Zaquan, the House of Katsa'ala, portions. All right, but let's get right to this. So the story portion actually starts with Deuteronomy chapter 11. All right, sorry about that. I'm about to switch things. So when you get to this website, it'll show you the current portion. So you can learn about the pronunciation. All right, so Torah, the first Torah portion of Deuteronomy chapter 16. But the way it's broken down is chapter 11, starting at verse 26. Even chapter 16, 17. So as you see, it says the consistency. So you have the patience to the next. You have the, if you can't read it, in the perfect world, I will never use it. All right. That's that. So, like, if you can't listen to it, so Torah portion, which is just the law portion itself, right? Understanding the instructions we were given from Yahweh, right? It starts at Deuteronomy chapter 11, and it stops at Deuteronomy chapter 16. So that's 11 to 11. It's only 6 chapters. So after you finish that, you want to say this phrase. Repeat this phrase, go back and play it, and record it. Maybe there's somebody that speaks Hebrew, or I get into the book. The phrase is after you finish reading the law. This is something that we all need to do as a nation. Everybody's saying the same thing. Kala Shara, Devari Yahweh, not Aisha, why not Shema? Some people might pronounce it differently. They might be from the south. They might have been over in India. They might say, why not Shemi? Yahweh Shi, why not Shemi? Right? But we're all saying the same thing in unison. That's better than the organization. What we just said was all that the Lord said. I want to say that at the end of each Torah, chapter. We started the chapter and rough day and finish the chapter and everything. Never forget to say Kala Shara, all that the Lord said. See what was happening in the season of life. When it's astronomical, but it's terrestrial, earth and weather murder, or whether it's social or civil unrest, or whether somebody just passed away, you're going to the same elements that happen in Torah portion by portion of what's going on in life if you're into this. Lastly, we want to read that. Of course, we just comment and say, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. All right, praise you, God, praise you, God, praise you, God. Then you want to go to the gospel. You always want to finish with the gospel. Sometimes I like to do this little trick to where I'll actually teach the little portions like that. Like I'll start with the gospels, then I'll teach the prophet, and I'll teach the law. Just kind of to reorganize people's brains, keep them, you know. So it helps, but you also always want to read the gospel. You can't read it, listen to it. What did Christ, what did he say to you? What did YHWH? Nobody else talks to you good all week, or nobody makes sense. And they're like, oh, let's go check and see what the prophet say. Find a social media. They don't bring together that right away. So shalom. All right. Shalom. Okay. Duwada, thank you for letting me know. All right, so let me see if I can adjust the microphone, right? All right, Shalom. All right, well, Duwada, for that, if you need to, you can call me on the public server, 513-348-5408. I'm going to see if I can adjust the sound 2.5 seconds. All right. And maybe we might have YouTube issues here. I've never played this person's music. The background music. All right, put a 7 in the room if you can hear me okay now. All right, let's get a little bit of adjustment. It's not. Okay. We'll restart. All right, Shalom sound check. Okay, Khan, amen. Duwada, thank you. Missed it. Okay. Well, is this sound better? Bible Kushal, please let me know. All right, it might be an internet connection issue. If it is an internet connection issue, then what I'll do is I'll make it brief. All right, but if I can be heard, okay, does that sound good? Okay, greatly appreciate that. All right, so let's get back to, and if it sounds good, then Duwada, thank you so very much. Greatly appreciate it. Hey, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. La, Duwada, I didn't. Let me double check. All right. All right. All right. Put a 7 in the room if I could be seen. I'm going to mute this. I'm sorry? Come on. Hallelujah. All right. Looks like we're on with good. So we're going to finish this up. All right. Put my phone on the charger. All right. Greatly appreciate it. All right. Cool. Looks like we're on with good. A lot of noise, running fan noise. The water. All right. That should be a huge help. All right. Greatly appreciate it. Yabaraka Kami Hawa Basham Hamashiach Hawashai. Greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it. All right. So let's go ahead and get to it. Let's put a 7 in the room if you can hear me okay. If it sounds okay for the 7 in the room, and that's perfect timing because we had the opportunity to be able to adjust a few things. All right. So sound 7. All right. All praise. Let's go ahead and get to it. All right. So I'm going to turn this down just a little bit turn it down just a little bit. All right, so we'll start our screen share. And if you can, since you are watching, if you are watching, go out of Shalom, wa namaskar, wa namaste, lakal hamashbakha in India. Banyarak, recently there was a Facebook post and a prayer that I was running for elder, and I prayed that Zaquan is doing well. I was asking other people in the East, would you pray with us? Would you fast with us? Would you consider, putting down, whatever your vices are, meat or bread or whatever? And that's what leads me into this video. So I was having a conversation, and we got to try to make it quick. This has to be a short. We're going to read a very short segment, and it's only going to be Deuteronomy chapter 11. All right. So I'm going to start the screen share real quick. So with Deuteronomy chapter 11, if you're watching, Baba Kushai, share out. The baby's asleep, so I got some quiet time. All right. So let's start our screen share because we got to be very, very quick. All right. I'm going to start the screen share with this website. This website anybody can use. You can get it. It's called First Fruits of Zion. As we know, the children of Israel are the first fruits of Zion. Okay, so we are the first fruits of Zion. All right, we're the first fruits of the children of Israel that will be redeemed after Christ. YHWH, as we said, also YHWH was the first fruit, so we will be the first fruits. So this website is very helpful, even if you don't want to use this website. There are certain Hebrew books that have Torah portions already in them. If you don't have those books, then it's okay. You can ask certain ones of us. We'll help you. You can find them. All right. So we don't depend on the website to be our specific one source. And before this website actually existed, our elders, including Moses, going back to Ezra, going back to Jeremiah, used to stand up and read the law to us in our ears every Sabbath. That's why Christ went to the synagogue on the Shabbat day, because it was a custom of Black people all throughout the world. Yes, Blacks come in different shades of brown, and we even also speak different tongues. We come from very dark to very light, like my twin, Dr. So we have all different shades because it's not Black as a color. It's the children of Israel is what our nationality is. So this is what we do as a race, as a nation, as a people. Elders, teachers, husbands, mothers would learn how to read this and teach this to the children. All right, so our first section of law is what I want to read. Now, even though we would read all this as a community together, since time is short, I'm only going to read this section for right now. We're only going to read Deuteronomy chapter 11, and it's going to start at verse 26, and it's going to stop at chapter 16, verse 17. All right. Now, the reason why this is so important is because you have to understand the laws that Yahweh, God Almighty, gave. If you understand the rules of how to live, social rules, things, I might do something. I smoke cigars. And that's not something that's socially acceptable, and it's not always. So with that being said, what we have to do is we have to be very mindful of learning which laws are laws. What are the laws of the Most High? So let's go to it. Deuteronomy chapter 12 is the only chapter we'll be reading. At the end of the chapter, I say a phrase. The phrase is Kala Sharah Debar Yahweh Na'isha wa Nashamai. This is something that Israelites, Hebrews, our culture said worldwide. And what it means is all that the Most High said, what we do it here. All right, Shabbat Shalom, greatly appreciate you. Put a 7 in if you're watching. Excuse me, if the sound is good, if you're watching, please share out. And the topic will be just specifically on that subject of dietary laws. So read all of it if you can. If you can't read all of it, listen to all of it. But just for this section, peek this out. You might have a conversation with somebody who's considering that. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 1. These are the statutes and judgments which ye shall observe to do in the land which Yahweh God of thy fathers give thee to possess it all the days that ye live upon earth. Not some, not a little bit, not just because I moved over here, not because my family was there, not because we got this much money, we got that much or less money. The Most High said, all the days that you live upon the earth. This is what he commands us to do. I didn't make this up. And if you've never read or seen these lines, I just want to show it to you. Right? Now, you're going to see something different also. When the words is capital right here, I'm going to pronounce the name, the title in Hebrew. A lot of us know Yahweh, and that's fine. Some people say Yahuwah, and that's fine. Everybody's learning. What I'm going to do is pronounce it in a dialect All right. I'm going to pronounce it in a different dialect. And the dialect is a baby talking dialect. So if you hear me talking Hebrew, it's because I'm talking like a baby. So the pronunciation of these characters right here, you've had to sing these in your lifetime sometime. I'm going to enlarge the screen. This verse is Yah. This second character is Ha. This third character is Wa, 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 like W-A. And this fourth character is H-A, another Ha. So the pronunciation, every time I see capital L, capital O, capital R, capital D, whenever you read your Bible, I just want to let you know that it's originally the name of God that's there. I choose to say Yahweh because I like to talk like a baby. So every time we see the Lord, you're going to hear me say Yahweh. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 2. Ye shall utterly, utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations which ye shall possess serve their gods, upon the high mountains and upon the hills and every green tree. And ye shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars and burn their groves with fire. And ye shall hew down the great images of their gods. Notice I didn't say Yahweh there. You know why? Because it's capital G, capital O, capital D whenever it's talking about Yahweh. Or an angel under Yahweh, like Yahweh Shai, Yahweh She. In English, Yahweh Shai is known as Jesus. Yahweh She is known as Jesus. But we still like to talk like babies. So Yahweh She is it will be capital. So when it's lowercase, it'll be talking like maybe God as a judge or an elder, an officer, or a supervisor, or God like like an angel. So when it's lowercase, we don't say Yahweh. So that's why it's okay. Deuteronomy chapter 12, starting at verse 3. And ye shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars and burn their groves with fire, and ye shall hew down the graven images of their gods and destroy the names of them out of that place. Ye shall not do so unto Yahweh your God. Let me explain. He told us to do this to what? The Most High says when you go to different places and they're worshiping the false gods and the idols, when we at that time, don't do it now. Don't go to a church and set it on fire. Don't go to a mosque and hurt anybody. Don't go to any synagogue or any places where any body of worship is and do any harm, because Christ our King told us not to do that. Actually, the law tells us to not revile the gods when we go into the lands. But we can talk about that another time. Most High will. Point is saying such as the things when Yahweh was giving us instructions to do to go into the land and conquer the people at that time is what we're talking about. Okay, so everybody understand that when we were going to conquer the land of the Africans, the Ethiopians, the Somalians, people from Senegal, West, all of those people that look like, but they're not the same as. When the Most High told us to conquer them, He said to destroy all of the places where they worship, because He didn't want nothing there in them, nothing there in the bad people. He said, erase it all. But He said, the things I tell you to do to their temple, never disrespect my house. Makes sense? Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 5. Right here at the beginning of the verse, you have a symbol. This symbol is called a pilcrow. A pilcrow means that the paragraph is about to go into a different subject matter. But unto the place which Yahweh, your God, shall choose out of all your tribes to put His name there, even unto His habitation shall ye seek, and thither thou shalt come. Let me explain. But unto the place which Yahweh, your God, shall choose out of all your tribes to put His name there, even His habitation shall ye seek. I am not from Cincinnati, I live here. I am not from California, I live there. I'm not gonna do the map on the paper. You are not from these places. You are a sojourner. Remember, this is not our rest. We are, somebody just reminded me while I was in short circuit mode, this is not the place of our rest.
So you ought to seek out Jerusalem. And a lot of times when you read the Bible, you'll read the Most High in the prophet portion. He's talking about Jerusalem as his wife and as our mother. So don't overly claim, like I'll say, who they? I represent Cincinnati and I pray for Cincinnati because I love the place where Yahweh's placed me. And I've met beautiful, anointed people here who are awesome. But my chief joy has to be the place where my grandparents were stolen from. If my grandmother was stolen off a slave and was brought into a place called Tennessee, and she didn't have a name given to her, but a place where she was brought, I don't reference the place Tennessee or Texas. I reference the place where she was brought from. Okay. Jerusalem, if I choose not thee above my chief joy, let my right hand get its cunning. I don't want to not be able to use my right hand. And let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. I don't want to not be able to speak. That's called dumb. If a person is dumb, they have deficiencies. You don't want to become dumb, so don't be dumb. Point is saying such. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 5. Unto his habitation. So all of you start putting Jerusalem in your heart. All right. And thither thou shalt come. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 6. And thither ye shall bring your burnt offerings and your sacrifices and your tithes and heave offerings of your land and your vows and your free will offerings and the firstlings of your herds and your flocks, of your flocks. Let me explain. The Most High told us if we did good, he would bless us and put us above all nations, and everybody would submit everything that they had unto us. No bills. No bills. But everybody would give and bring unto us, and we would bring unto him. Our grandparents disobeyed, and we were sold in slavery because of it. The Most High said, thither, that's an ancient way of saying there. And thither ye, that means, and there you shall bring your burnt offerings. We gave burnt offerings to the Lord for certain things, to Yahweh for certain things. If I just gave birth to a son, Zakaria, 12 years ago, and I apologize, she talks in her sleep. And she will walk up right up on you while you're sleeping and be like, Abba. So my bad. And there ye shall bring your burnt offerings. The things that we would give to the Most High, our gifts, our burnt offerings. I've completed a vow. I've given birth to a son. I've made an offense. My wife is misbehaving. The Most High said, only do those things in Israel. And our sacrifices. We would only take those things to Yahshua, to our home. Remember where your grandfather, where your grandmother was stolen from? Don't forget that part. This isn't just about Bible. This is about culture and what do we do next for instructions. We are a people in exile, truly not living by the laws that our grandparents had. Stop looking at all these other cultures and come back to the Torah. That's the law of the African Americans, the blacks, the North American Indians, those scattered throughout the Eastern diaspora, Nepal, India, Pakistan, China. Point is, we wouldn't do these certain things for our God in the places where we live. We would only take them back to your home. Your home is over Jordan. Your home is Yerushalayim. Your home is Jerusalem. And we would also take our tithes there. And we would also bring our heave offerings of our hand. Yahweh, these are the things you blessed me with all year. I came up. Here's my tools. Here's my bayat. Here's my Yahweh. Here's all these crops that you've given me. I'm bringing 10% of my quails back. It was a social standard for us to give back. And then in that giving back, the elders, the Levites would give back to the poor and the people who lived amongst us, including all the other nationalities, whether they were white, I'll be very basic, whether they were African, whether they were Arab, or whether they were from any other nationality. The other nations who live amongst us could eat off of us because we all brought back to our culture, to our country, right? So, and we would bring our vows back. Most High, I made a Nazarite vow, and I made a vow. I'm not going to eat anything off of the vine. I'm not going to drink any manaship. I'm not going to have no cannabis. I'm not going to eat any, no wine, no wine, Does the Nazarite vow say you can't eat flesh, or is that something that people made up? I'm asking. So I take my vows back to Jerusalem. My free will offerings. Father, if you bless me with something wonderful from somebody else, I've taken out my 10%. I just want to bring it back to you. The firstlings of our herds and our flocks, that's the increase that he gives us. Whether it's your personal business, you're pushing papers, or whatever your business is, bring that back home. All right. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 7. And there ye shall eat before Yahweh, your Elohim, and ye shall rejoice in all that ye put your hand unto. Ye and your household wherein Yahweh the Elohim hath blessed thee. So everybody within our bayat, within our households, everybody within our families, everybody within our go home. I'm not telling anybody go to Jerusalem right now. You can't do it, but this was the standard that the Father gave us as we were conquering the land. He said, don't tear down these people's houses, tear down their place of worship. Don't set up places there. Only come back to my place and do these specific details. All right. If you ever want to go back and look at the details, they're right here. All right, verse 8. And look at verse 8, everybody. You see another thing called a pill crow, right? Pill crow. Pill crow, or a blind pea, or a backwards pea. Let's check out the subject now to see what happens. Ye shall not do after all the things that we do here this day, every man whatsoever is right in his own eyes. For ye are not as yet come to the rest and to the inheritance which Yahweh your Elohim giveth you. And that was the reminder that I needed. Not only was that the reminder that I needed, that was the reminder I wanted to remind you all too. Okay? All right, 7 in the room if everybody can hear me okay. If you're watching, put 3 in. If you're watching, make sure you share out with somebody else. 7 in the room with the audio is okay. I'll come back and check it on vision. But let's get back to this real quick. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 9. For ye are not as yet come to the rest and to the inheritance which Yahweh your Elohim giveth you, but when ye go over Jordan and dwell in the land which Yahweh your God giveth you to inherit, and when he hath given you rest from all your enemies round about, so that ye dwell safely. Verse 11. Then there shall be a place which Yahweh your God shall choose to call his name to dwell there. Thither shall ye bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings and your sacrifices, your tithes, your heap offerings of your hands, and all your choice vows. I like that. I'm bringing the little stuff. I'm bringing the vain stuff. I'm the small stuff. If I got these, give me my best. He's going to give me more. What is this? I'm going to look at it, fall in love with it. What the hell? Like, no, give it back to the Most High. Right? Your choice vows, which you vow to Yahweh, verse 12, in Deuteronomy chapter 12. Zechariah is 12 years old. And ye shall rejoice before Yahweh, your Elohim, your God. I really like this. We are commanded. Ye shall means we're supposed to. I like everybody's together, keeping Shabbat together, having fun. I like the sound of pedal and feet. Anticipation of food prepared. I like the feeling of anticipation of everybody getting ready to sit down together. The anticipation of it's almost time to, and then the purple explosions of understanding. You see people get when they hear something new. It's like slow motion memories of happiness. Can't explain that. The Most High commanded the children of Israel to gather for the Shabbat. He commanded us to gather, and ye shall rejoice before Yahweh your God, ye and your sons and your daughters and your men servants and your maid servants. So this will be the Gentiles that will be amongst us. All right. So Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 12, that should be a huge help. And the reason being is because we were commanded to make servants of the people of the land round about us. But since Yahweh made us free from slavery in Egypt, it wasn't lawful for us to turn around and enslave another Israelite. So Yahweh made us a covenant. He said, give me your firstborn sons. I'm not asking you, tell me. Because I redeemed y'all when the Egyptians was murdering y'all's firstborn sons. So therefore, none of your sons can be servants of the people. So whenever we went back home, the Gentiles would gather and come with us because they were believers. They weren't to be left out. They were supposed to hear the law. And the Levites that is within your gate, because every city gate, which you Judean discovery scrolls, and it's on camps. All right. The Most High tells us the structure of the camps. Okay. So every city is supposed to have a judge, officer, elder, and Levite within every single city. Every single city. So we would all gather together, come together, leave together, for as much as he had no part nor inheritance with you. Verse 13. Why not? Because the Levites didn't have to have a job. Their job was to do all the works of Yahweh, and everybody knew you just took care of the Levite. All right. Verse 13. Take heed to thyself that thou offer not thy burnt offering to every place that thou seest. So he's reiterating same pattern. But in the place which Yahweh shall choose, in one of thy tribes, there thou shalt offer thy burnt offering, and there thou shalt do all that I command thee. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 15. Here's our pill crow. It seems like the Most High is letting me be able to do this. So take this here. I'm going to drop it there. I'm going to switch the screen. On to here. I'm going to share the screen there. Instead, this is a pill crow. Always review this. The symbol pill crow is called a pill crow. The symbol, I said the name of it as I was reading what it is on that. The symbol. But that was cool. Wow, I just really picked it right. Thank you for that. Huh. The symbol pilcrow is called pilcrow, all right, or the pictograph sign. And this visually marks the start and end of a paragraph. Known as a paragraph mark, paragraph, a blind P. Started in the Middle Ages, derived from the Latin word. Looks like a cap. Oh, you know what? I've never seen that. Captivum. I've never seen that. Captivum. Meaning chapter. Pretty interesting. Let's go back to our verse. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 15. Notwithstanding, now, when we get to Deuteronomy chapter 15, we're going to start to address the topic of this video because I made sure I sent it out, but I'll make sure I send it out again. When it comes to eating, dietary law, here's a portion of how the Father instructed us, how we are to be able to intake and partake the foods that he said would be good for these bodies that he's given us. All right. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 15. Notwithstanding, thou mayest kill. Now, notice here, it doesn't say murder. The Bible says, thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not kill. Very simply. When we hear the phrase, thou shalt not kill, we'll think, that's it. Thou shalt not kill. Nothing more to it. But that's not it. Thank you. Thank you, phone. Thank you. Thank you. Did everyone hear that? So thank you, personal Gentile servant. Let's go ahead and go to the book of Exodus. All right. So let's go to KJV All right. Exodus chapter 20, KJV and we'll go to this website. All right. All right. So this isn't the one I commonly use, but it'll work just fine. It has the word of the Most High in it. So this is Exodus chapter 20. Oh, it went to 21. Slow. Exodus chapter 20. I'm trying to change this for this. All So when we read in the Ten Commandments, the Most High tells us in the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not take the name of Yahweh, thy God, right? For Yahweh will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name. Remember the Shabbat day, it's the Sabbath, to keep it holy. Holy means set apart. No buying, no working, no selling, no causing others to work, and no sexual gratification. 6 days thou shalt labor, so work all week, and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Shabbat day. Excuse me, the seventh day is the Shabbat of Yahweh, the Elohai, thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant. There's our Gentiles again. So once again, any of the Gentiles that are following the way, Hadrach, that are in the way, salute to you for being a servant and a subsidiary of, the men and the women who were before you. Salute to you for wanting to be honorable and sustain your believed salvation, which the Father has given you through faith in Christ. Salute to you, as the Apostle Paul and Peter and many others have saluted you. All right. So let's go over to this. The Most High tells us the Gentiles, and I think that's very important because it's not good for us to omit information. When we're looking at the topic of thou shalt not murder within the commandments, we see that the Father does say the difference between thou shalt not kill and thou shalt not murder. And that's very important. All right. I want to get back to the law. All right. Let's see. Hey, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Someone just heard somebody hit the thing. You got somebody came in. Banyarak. Okay, Banyarak. Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. All right, so we see that the Most High gave us a difference between thou shalt not kill and thou shalt not murder within the Ten Commandments. So going down from the Shabbat day all the way to thou shalt not kill, the instructions there and the language is what sometimes we have misunderstanding. So we're just going to do the Hebrew real quick. All right. Now we're in the same chapter. All right. Now our word for here for withstand is rach. All right. Thou mayest kill. Now the word that's here is tzibah. Tzibah. That's a Tzbah. Tzibah. Now, it's the fa. Fa tzibah. So fa is pointing at you. So it says rach fa tzibah. All right. It says, but you kill. Now the word that's here for kill is again tazabah, but the word for murder is ratzazach. So it's two different Hebrew words that's actually used there, which is how we know that the Father gave us a separation, a difference on what our parameters and our permissions are. So we are allowed to kill an animal. You don't want to be an animal murderer. You don't want to be a person who's a serial animal kill. You're just an animal murderer. You don't want to be a murderer. Yeah, if you have to kill for a just cause, therefore, but no murder. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 15. Notwithstanding, thou mayest kill and eat flesh in all thy gates. The phrase right here, all thy gates, means no matter where you live. The Most High says it's okay to kill animals no matter where you live. Now, we were not butchers to where we do what the organizations and they do today with the industries for the meat packing factories. No, not like that. We're very humane. The animals of the land don't have permission to overtake us to where there's so many chickens in our street we're tripping over, or there's so many cows in our street, or there's so many pigs, because some people won't kill the hogs, and they have hogs everywhere. So then they have to have hog hunting season. So you can't have animals overrule you. So the Most High gives us instructions. He says, notwithstanding, thou mayest. He didn't say you have to. It's an option. Thou mayest kill and eat flesh in all thy gates. Whatsoever. Now, here's an interesting phrase, but don't let it confuse you. Whatsoever thy soul lusteth after. It is not a bad thing to desire lamb. It is not a bad thing to not have a desire for beef. It is not a bad thing to not have a desire for any flesh at all whatsoever. I believe it's personally an excellent thing to have a primarily 95, 99% no flesh diet. And the reason being is because, I believe that the herbs of the land are our best and first diet. Now, when we seen troubles come up, we seen our forefathers, such as the 12 tribes, they all fasted whenever they were having issues of spiritual disconnects, or if they were sinning, they would disconnect from eating flesh. There's a very good point. We see Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, right? We see Daniel and the Daniel fast. We know about the original diet that the Most High gave us from the beginning. All of these things are excellent. The Most High only commands us once a year to eat flesh. I know an elder named Karash, he doesn't eat flesh at all. But once a year, you see him at Pesach. Once a year, you'll see him at Passover. And at Passover, he'll partake in his lamb as instructed by Yahweh, because the Father commanded us to. I'm so sorry. Because the Father commanded us to. So whatsoever thou soul lusteth after, the Father says you can have a desire for clean meats. If you desire them, it's okay. Notwithstanding, thou mayest kill and eat flesh in all thy gates, whatsoever thy soul lusteth after, according to the blessing of Yahweh thy God, which he hath given thee. What does that mean? When it says, according to the blessing of Yahweh thy God, which he hath given thee, that is the law. That's the dietary law. It doesn't mean any law. It's the dietary law he gave us. So he says, these are the things that you can eat, according to as I've given you instructions. Now, here's a phrase that sometimes people get confused on, but I want to explain right here. The Most High says, the unclean, please don't. Yahweh says, the clean and the unclean may eat thereof. So when he says the clean and the unclean may eat thereof, he is not talking about the unclean animal and the clean animal. He's talking about the unclean person may eat thereof. He says, as in the roebuck and as in the hart. Father never gave us instructions to be able to eat unclean animals, but this is something that has come up. I just wanted to speak on it real quick, but I'm not done yet. So we just got a little bit more reading, and it seems like our time frame is coming to a head, and we got a little bit of this chapter almost done. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 16. Only ye shall not eat what? The blood. Ye shall the blood. Hadam, blood. Only ye shall not eat the blood, ye shall pour it upon the earth as water. So we don't eat flesh with blood still in it. And even when you get, I personally don't like it when people take meat, because I will eat turkey. I like ground turkey. Yes, I like ground turkey. And what I don't like when people take meat and take it out the package and flip it directly into the skillet. I think that's one of the grossest things ever. I can still taste it. It's disgusting. I come from a family who rinses off our meat. I can taste the difference between when somebody didn't prepare their meat and when they did prepare it. I've had beef so fine, ground, it was put in a blender that it wasn't even like flesh, but you still had the texture. And I've also had flesh that was so badly cooked that I would not. So we pour out the blood. If you need to, just place it under cool water and just let it gently run over your packs of meat. You can also use salt to help draw out the blood. Flip it over and then cook it and prepare it for your families. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 16. Only ye shall not eat the blood. Ye shall pour it upon the earth as water. Thou mayest not eat within the gates the tithe of thy corn. Yes, wherever we live within our city gates where we live. This house, this bayah, and everything around us, these are our gates. This is our zone, this is our area. Thou mayest not eat within thy gates the tithe of thy corn, or of thy wine, or of thy oil, or of thy firstling of thy herds, or of thy flock, nor any of thy vows which thou vowest, nor thy freewill offering, nor heave offering of thy hand. Why should we not do that in the land where we live? Because we read earlier where Yahweh said, bring everything to my house. Don't sneak and try to eat food in your room. That's a good one. So don't eat food in your room. So don't sneak and try to hide and eat food in your room. Yahweh said, only bring it to my house. So I like that. That's man. That's pretty good. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 24. Thou shalt not eat it, thou shalt pour it upon the earth as water. Thou shalt not eat it, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children after thee, when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of Yahweh. Only the holy things which thou hast and thy vows thou shalt take, and go unto the place which Yahweh shall choose. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 27. And thou shalt offer thy burnt offerings, the flesh and the blood, upon the altar of Yahweh thy God. And the blood of thy sacrifice shall be poured out upon the altar of Yahweh thy God, and thou shalt eat the flesh. We see a consistent hygienic teaching. First of all, if you didn't know, the altar of Yahweh God Almighty is made out of electrium. It's a brazen altar. Electrium is a special metal. It's like mixing silver and gold and another element. I don't fully know the compound at this time. I don't remember, but I believe the Most High gave back to me. But electrium, you can look it up. It's a historical metal. Point of saying such as to say, copper and brass has healing properties. So the altar of the Lord was never put out. It was a constant fire that was always lit. It wasn't like a wooden barbecue grill. So if something touched it, it was purified. If there was any drop of blood, it was going to be burned out. Yahweh said, you can pour all the blood on my altar. I'll clean it. One second. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 25. Thou shalt not eat it, that it may go well with thee and with thy children after thee. Are you my child? Are you my baby? You not my baby? You my baby. Thou shalt not eat it, that it may go well with thee and with thy children after thee, when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of Yahweh. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 26. Only thy holy things which thou hast, and thy vows thou shalt take, and go unto the place which Yahweh thy Allah shall choose. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 27. And thou shalt offer thy burnt offerings, the flesh and blood, upon the altar of Yahweh thy God, and the blood of thy sacrifices. So we don't drink and we don't deal in vampirism. All right, there's some who have the understanding of, yes, son. I want to finish this sentence. Baba Kusha. The water. Shema Lava. Then I'll be able to take care of what you need. Con? Con? Okay, the water. So there's some who have to understand that if you cook meat, that there's still a portion of blood in it, but it is actually possible to be able to prepare your meat, to be able to cook your meat, and to be able to purify it. And the Father tells us that we're commanded not to. We pour it out. Now, there's more to it because I'm pretty sure you've heard this phrase. Now, the Most High tells us, almost done, Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 25. This is the way how it says, thou shalt not eat it, that it may go well with thee and with thy children after thee, when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of Yahweh. Only thy holy things which thou hast, and thy vows thou shalt take, and go into the place which Yahweh shall choose. And thou shalt offer thy offerings, the flesh and the blood, upon the altar of Yahweh, the Allahiyah. And the blood of thy sacrifice shall be poured out upon the altar of Yahweh, the Allahiyah. And thou shalt do what? thou shalt eat the flesh. So once it's been purified, clean, blood poured out. All right. And then on top of that, the Most High tells us don't offer him no offerings without no salt. So even in the Hebrew culture, custom, way back before you were born, the Most High had us salting up his meat. The city of Jerusalem smelled like frankincense and myrrh and barbecue. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 28. Observe and hear. Shemai, here's that word, Shemai. The word Shemai is observe and hear. Observe and hear all the things which I command thee, that it may go well with thee and with thy children. He said it again, after thee forever. When thou doest that which is good and right in the sight of Yahweh, thy Elohim. When Yahweh, there's another pill crow, everybody. When Yahweh the Elohim shall cut off the nations from before thee, whither thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them, and dwellest in their land. Take heed to thyself, that thou be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before thee. Let's read that again. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 30. Then take heed to thyself, so pay attention to your own soul, your own actions. Watch what your hands are doing, that thou be not snared by following them. Remember, we were going into the other nations as an army. The children of Israel, we were coming out of Egypt, out of captivity. The Most High did all kinds of things. He made fire come from the sky. I mean, fire and ice mingled together in the land of the Egyptians. I want to expound, but I feel like we should move forward and get finished. Here am I know. Can I feed you? Can I finish you? Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 30. Take heed to thyself, that thou be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Thou shalt not do so unto Yahweh thy God, for every abomination to Yahweh which he hated have they done unto their gods, even their sons and their daughters have they burned in the fire to their gods. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 32. What things soever I command you, observe to do it. Thou shalt not add thereto, nor diminish from it. And at the end of every Torah portion reading of every chapter, we say a phrase that our family and our children should all know how to say. We've only read a small section, and if you agree with what we've read, maybe you don't have to agree with me. But maybe if you agree with your God that you believe in, prayerfully Yahweh, hopefully Yahweh and his only begotten son, Yahweh Shah, then repeat after me, say, Kala Shada, the body Yahweh, Na Aisha, Wa Na Shamai. All that Yahweh has said, will we do and hear. Shabbat Shalom. Study to show yourselves approved.